And hello once again, everybody. Thank you for coming to your election headquarters as we interview each of the 9 Republican hopefuls who want to be the next sheriff of Spartanburg County. We're joined today by Randy Hollifield, a captain, I believe, with the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office right now.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And thank you for being with us. As we said at the beginning of each of these, we're trying to go through very, very similar candidate questions for each of the gentlemen who have come in so far, because it's more about how you differentiate yourself. How do you stand out? Not about the questions we're asking here.
Sure.
So, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Let's start with question number 1. I promise you this is the easiest question you'll be asked all year.
Yes, sir.
Why do you want to be sheriff?
Well, Gordon, I grew up here in Spartanburg, grew up around Spartan Mill, went to school here, and after school, I went into the military. In 1982, came out of the military, left Fort Bragg, and when I got here, I actually run into some guys at a favorite spot of everybody on Friday night. I ran into some guys at the Beacon Drive-In, and they told me that the sheriff's office was hiring. And at that time, I was ETSing from the military, which meant that I couldn't do anything for 30 days. And so basically, I went over to the sheriff's office, told them that I was looking for a job, that I just got out of the military, and they hired me the actual day that I went over there. Mm-hmm. And so I started from there. I went to uniform patrol at the sheriff's office. And the thing that was kind of rough at that time, I started out, and I really didn't even ask about what the pay was going to be. But come to find out, the pay was $9,800 a year, and which was kind of rough. And at the time, if I hadn't been living with my mom, I don't know what I would have done. So didn't have a vehicle. So what I actually did was, for my first eight and a half months, I walked to work. Didn't have a vehicle to get me back and forth, so lived off Textile Road. I walked from Textile Road to the old courthouse where the sheriff's office was at that time, and that's how I started. Actually got a vehicle and started going back and forth. But when I started, everybody finds, I guess, what you call your niche, what you really wanted to do in law enforcement. And at a young age, I found out that my true passion was doing traffic, and I enjoyed it. And the reason I enjoyed it is DUIs was something that I really thought was something that nobody was hitting really that hard, and I felt like that to get out here and get some of these people off the road that are out here drinking and driving, that just became a passion of mine. And I made sure that I got all the classes I needed to be part of the traffic team. And when the position came open, I applied and got the traffic division. And for 11 years, I was on the DUI team at the sheriff's office and enjoyed it. The DUI team at that time, there was 5 of us, and we were doing a lot in the state. We were recognized all over the state. We worked hand in hand with a lot of different agencies in Spartanburg. We teamed up with South Carolina Highway Patrol. We teamed up with town units, and we enjoyed it. We liked it. But then later on, I stayed there and enjoyed that. I left for about 7 years, wound up in Greenville County, working an area up in the mountains, which I enjoyed. When I came back in 2005, from 2005 until right now, I've been a captain at the sheriff's office. For the first 8 years at the sheriff's office, I was over special services, which was a little bit of everything. It was training, traffic, and let me say this: as we were going through the campaign in 2005, one of the big things was Mad Mothers. Mad Mothers was extremely upset about the DUIs in the county, and just because that's where I cut my teeth, for 11 years, I enjoyed that aspect of it. So I wanted to take over the Special Services Unit, which traffic was part of it. And so I had traffic, I had training, courthouse, all the special teams, which was the SWAT team, dive team, and the bomb unit, was all under me at the time. And I was part of the SWAT team. I was a SWAT commander for 8 years, and enjoyed that, enjoyed the team, and enjoyed the camaraderie that you have with the team. And in 2014, I was moved. At that time, the DUI, the unit, the traffic unit, at that time, from 2005 until 2014, was the #1 traffic division in the state of South Carolina, #1 for 8 straight years. 2 years, 2006 and 2011, we were #1 in the country. So it was something that, it was an achievement that the guys got out there and did, in which I was extremely proud of them. And in 2014, I was moved to the detention center. And from 2014 until today, I worked at the detention center and got a totally different look of what basically goes on at the sheriff's office. There's 2 sides to the sheriff's office. You got those that answer calls, and you got those that work at the detention center. And I really I enjoyed being with the folks at the detention center. They've got an extremely hard job, and part of one of the things that we started, that was already started, was the sheriff's office rifle drill team. I was on the drill team for several years. And 2 of those years we went to Washington, and basically we came in 3rd in the country as a drill team, as a part-time team. We went up against full-time teams from all over the country, and we took pride in what we did. We took pride in doing officers' funerals, veterans' funerals, and that was something I enjoyed until today.
So, since you mentioned your time on the traffic team, I'm going to skip ahead to a question here about the interim sheriff dropping Operation Rolling Thunder.
Yes, sir.
So, Rolling Thunder, for people who don't know, had gone on for many years, multi-agency sort of interdiction on the interstates.
Yes, sir.
And the interim sheriff has said they're not doing that, at least for now. Do you agree with that decision?
No, sir.
Would you bring it back?
Sure, I would. I don't think I'm not saying anything that, Jeff only can go by what he's got, and I respect his, what he actually did. But, when you have an operation, the operation itself is not broken. What happens is when you have issues, you actually have to fix those issues and continue on. It would be like, I kind of use the analogy. Some people's going to say, why'd you use that analogy? If Dabo Sweeney decided that when Carolina beat them, that he wasn't going to play Carolina again just because they got beat, that's not what he's going to do. He's going to sit down, he's going to figure out what was wrong, what they could have fixed, and prepare for the next game. And the next time they play Carolina, then he'll go with what he's got then. So the interdiction part of it, I don't know what happened after I was not in charge of it. While I was in charge of it, I made sure that everybody that worked in that operation, that's what they did day in and day out. They did drug interdiction out on the interstate, made sure they had the classes, and the issue is making sure that the vehicles that they have cameras, in-car cameras, to show everything that you do. And I feel like if they got away from that, then that's wrong. I think you should show what's going on each and every stop. And for me, I don't think the Rolling Thunder as an operation is broke. I think that maybe some issues had started that need to be fixed. But I think that anytime you have a corridor that's like 85 coming from south of Miami and going up into the north, there are things that go up and down this interstate: drugs, money. There's human trafficking. There was all kind of things that we actually we teamed up. Florence had strike force on 95, and we teamed up with them. That's actually how Rolling Thunder got started. 2 guys that were in traffic at the time had went to Florence to see what the operation was about, see how they ran it, and they actually called me and said, "Hey, Captain, listen, they got something going on down here that we think that we might could do in Spartanburg, And so I said, all right. I asked the sheriff, said, listen, can I run down and see what's going on? Went down and talked to the sheriff, talked to the guys that were running the operation, and came back and set a plan out to do the same thing that Strike Force was doing on 95, doing the same thing with Rolling Thunder on 85. And for the 8 years that I was in charge, we started in 2007, and the last time I was part of it was 2014. But, 2013, 2014. But every year, the thing that I always told them was, when you get out here, I want you to make sure that you do everything that you're supposed to do. If you see something, then act on it. If you don't see something, if you just don't feel like that there's something there, then let it go. There's just don't push the issue. And so, really, for the whole time that I had the operation, I think the operation went well. And would I bring it back? Absolutely. Would I look to see what failed or what issues they had during the 11 years that I was not there? Absolutely. But I don't think the operation itself is bad. I think that sometimes when you don't do things that you need to do or keep up with things, then I think that's when you have issues.
So let's talk about the office of sheriff itself. Constitutional office, operates with some independence from the county government. I mean, not total independence because
Yes,
of the
sir.
financial bond, but it is also a position of enormous power in South Carolina, the
Yes, sir.
46 sheriffs we have. In the quarter century I've been reporting the news around here, a lot of those 46 sheriffs have abused that power on a statewide level. How can you assure the voters of Spartanburg County that if entrusted with that kind of authority and power, it won't be abused on your watch?
Well, for me, I think, it's kind of hard for me to think of a sheriff and not think that he works for the people. That's the thing. When you hear about constitutional sheriffs, for me, I'm thinking, well, you're an elected official, number one, and you have to make sure that you take care of those people that have elected you into this office. I feel that you need to get out and find out what the issues are. I over the past few weeks, I've been thinking about things that why we've gotten away from those things that comes with having that power. I feel like that as the sheriff, you should see what's going on in all the small towns. The small towns have councils, and for the sheriff, I feel that the sheriff should at least once a month go to the council, go to a council meeting, and find out what is actually going on in their towns to see if you can help them. You can't, as the sheriff, you can't fix everything. You can't fix every problem there is, but at least show them that you're willing to come down and talk to them and find out what's going on. See if you can help them. I feel that the voters should have trust in you to get out here and for their best interest. I feel that for me, it's kind of hard for me not to think that a sheriff is a person that goes by the Constitution and what it entails. I mean, there's certain things that when you're the chief law enforcement officer in the county, I think you should use that to be able to make the county a better county and to make sure the citizens are safe and feel comfortable. But you also need to make sure that you take care of your officers too. They're the ones that deal with people day in and day out. And as long as the officers feel like that you have their back, it will show when they have interactions with the public. It just will.
Yeah, well, good. You've teed up my next question here. So you work with a lot of these deputies every day now. How would you describe your relationship with the deputies at the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office? And if there's one group of people that's definitely going to vote in this election, it's the deputies who work there. What's your message to them?
Well, for the past 11 years, for those officers that are at the detention center, I have, you talk about open door policy. I truly believe that inside the sheriff's office, you have rank structure, but I feel that the officers should be able to come and sit down with the sheriff if they have, the sheriff's office, the officers have all kind of issues. Any kind of issue that everybody has, they have personal problems, they have money issues, and if you don't sit down with them and try to help them, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I've had officers that have come in and sit down and talk to me about, as a captain at the jail, they've come in and sit down and talked to me and told me that they were thinking about leaving the office and going to another department. And my big thing to them is, how much, number one, if you leave, how much money are you going to make to go to another department? Why are you going to another department? And usually it's for money. But they also bring up, well, Captain, I'm going to another department because I'm going to make $2,000 more a month. But I kind of look at them and go, wait a minute. You've been here 10, 11 years, and you're going to leave for $2,000 a year. Do you really know what your spendable income is going to be at the end of the day when you give up 10 or 11 or 12 years? What's going to be your spendable income when you leave? And then after we figured out that probably they're not going to be making $15 more on a paycheck, then they kind of look at me and go, well, you know what, Captain, I really had never looked at that. So for me, I really feel that the officers that know me, for the ones that know me for the 8 years when I worked on the road, on Friday, my wife, she's going to say something to me about me actually talking about this, but on Friday and Saturday nights, I would be out with the traffic unit, stopping cars. If I heard a call come out, one of the zone officers, and knew they didn't have a backup, I don't know how many times I would go back a unit up, and the first thing I'd get was they'd turn around and look, go, Captain, what are you doing here? I said, I'm backing you up. So for me, I've been there. I've been in the trenches. And for them, the ones that know me, of course, I've been gone for, I've been over at the jail for 11 years, but I see them coming in and out, and a lot of them that are there still know me. I will be the sheriff that gets out there, gets in the trenches with you, as a captain. I don't know how many operations I went on, drug operations where we would do the search warrants, do the entries for narcotics, and hostage situations. For me, I want them to understand that I will be there for them to see what their problem is or what their problems are, and talk to them about it. I feel like that's what they need from a sheriff, and from the sheriff on down, they should know that we have their back. And I want them to know that I will get out there, I will do my best to take care of you and help you in any kind of way that I can.
How would you describe the relationship of the Sheriff's Office to the Spartanburg County Council, which, as we all know, controls the funding for the Sheriff's Office? And do you have a good relationship with the members of the County Council?
Well, though, Gordon, the ones that I do know, is usually in passing. I've been to very, very few council meetings. But the thing that I feel like you should do as the sheriff, that's what that I want to do as the sheriff, is you've got to sit down and try to work out issues. And of course, the biggest issue at the sheriff's office right now is pay with the officers. When an officer with the sheriff's office can go 15 miles down the road, 20 miles down the road, and go to work for another department and make $15,000 more, then you know what? They're going to try to go where the money's at. Now, I can't blame them for trying to do what's best for them and best for their family. But you have to work with council. You have to say, this is my needs. This is not my wants. And sitting down with council and really trying to figure out how we can get the pay raise. But if the pay raise don't come, then they're going to know that I'm going to be in front of them asking for the pay raise. I feel that if you want quality individuals to work for this county, if you want officers that in any business, you look for the best. And in order to get the best, you have to pay them. For 43 years, I've heard people tell me I couldn't do what you do. Well, let's use that same analogy for these officers. If you're expecting them to put on a vest, you're expecting them to carry a gun and put on that badge and get out here and put their life on the line, then you have to pay them. You've got to pay them what they deserve. And for me, that's just, and it should be across the board. You got to remember there's two sides to the sheriff's office. You got the road, and then you got the detention center. And I think that for the pay itself, it should be the same across the board. Whatever the road officers get for pay, the detention officers should get the same. There shouldn't be any difference in the pay itself. The position is different, but the pay should be the same.
Let's talk about the budget in a larger sense too, not just the pay for the deputies and the detention center officers, but what do you know about the budget of the sheriff's office right now, and how does it align to the needs of law enforcement in the county?
Well, when you look at budget, you have two different budgets when it comes to the sheriff's office right now. You have the roadside budget, and you have the detention side, and you have to have somebody that's taking care of the administrative side of the sheriff's office. You have somebody that's doing it on the road. You have somebody that's doing it on the detention side, and you've got to make sure that person that you have in that position, you got to make sure that they're doing everything that they can to get from the different departments what they have, for budget wise, and you really got to pay attention to the budget itself. Overtime, the way that I look at it, officer pay is the biggest part of a budget anyway. Your pay for the officers on the road and the pay for the officers in the detention center is the biggest part of your budget day in and day out. But you also got to look at different departments, what they need. So sitting down and talking to those that deal with the budget each and every day is vital. It's very important. And to make sure that if there's anything that you can change, if you can move money in another direction. The only thing about moving money in another direction is something's going to do without. So before you make a decision, I think you need to sit down and decide where we need to move money. And and also Cole Alverson, I think that the sheriff, me being the sheriff, I'd want to sit down with Cole and ask Cole, where are we lacking? Where do we need to move things around? Is there something that we could do as a sheriff's office? But I'd also want whoever's in charge of the budget, I would want them to be there with me. Just for me to hear it, I think it's better when you have more than one set of ears.
So a lot of the folks we've talked to have described morale inside the sheriff's office is pretty low right now. Would you agree with that assessment? And if you do, what would you do about it?
Well, first off, I think that anytime you give idle promises, it makes morale bad. If you tell the officers that you're going to do something, then you know what? You pretty well better do it. And if you give them, if you come in and tell them that the council is going to give a 15% raise across the board, and then all of a sudden only a 10% raise comes in, that's kind of bad. So anytime you give information out to the deputies, you need to make sure that information that you're giving them is correct, and that those things are going to happen. I also feel that, when, as the sheriff and me being the sheriff, when I think supervisors need to be able to supervise. And when you give them, when you put them in a supervisory role, I think that you should let them be the supervisor and run those shifts. I think that when you have interviews, if a person is interviewed for, and I know these things have happened, when you interview for a position, for you to have to wait, a year and a half, 2 years to actually get moved into that position, that is bad for morale. And for me, as being the sheriff, I've always said when I was a captain that whenever somebody interviews for a job, within 2 weeks, that person needs to move. They shouldn't have to wait to move into that position, because that kills morale. And I feel like that those people, when they put in for a position, they need to move and let them move on to whatever they want to do. If you move from uniform patrol and you move up into CID, if I get that job, if I was to get that position, I'd hate to know that I had to wait 6, 7, 8, 9 months or a year best thing to do is don't interview for that position until you can move some people. Then you just don't interview for it. But let them know that as soon as you interview, as soon as you get this position, within 2 weeks' time, we're gonna move you. It's not this wait. You need to move them. And morale, I think morale starts from the top. You know, if they know that you have their back and you're gonna fight for them, you know, it's that thing of people walk through hot water for you, and they got other analogies they use. But you know, people will do things for you as long as they know that you're going to fight for them. And I guarantee you, I've been in the trenches with them, and I'm going to fight for them.
Well, I want to give you, before we wrap up, the same opportunity I've given every candidate, which goes like this. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I'm going to give you the voters that are watching this right now. Let's hear your best pitch for why you, Randy Hollifield, should be the sheriff of Spartanburg County.
For me, I have the experience. I have the road experience. I have the experience in the jail, and I know what the sheriff's office needs. I know what the sheriff's office needs on both sides. The road officers just want somebody that's in charge, somebody at the top that cares about them. I want them to understand that I've got their back, but I also want the public to understand that it's going to show that I've got their back by their interactions with you and the public. People in the public, only thing they want to know is what is going on, what you're doing, how you're doing it. Communication between the officers, communication between the public is something that you have to have. You got to let them know, just let them know what you're doing. That's all they want to know. Roadside and jail. The jail, I've got their back. I know what they need. Overcrowding at the jail is bad. So what I need to do is get in there and get up in front of council and just tell them we need to fix this. The public, they should know that there's overcrowding in the jail and what we can do to fix it. It's just not necessarily letting somebody out, but at some time you've got to build something in order to house them. If you don't build, then you can't. And the jail only holds 574 people, and when you're running at 1,000, it's overcrowded. So that's the thing that I want to do for the jail side as the sheriff, and the road side. I want them to understand that I've got their back, and that the officers have the voting public, they got their back. And that interaction, you'll be able to tell that we have done something to change things at the sheriff's office.
And that is Captain Randy Hollifield of the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office. He would like to be your next sheriff of Spartanburg County, one of 9 people running for the Republican nomination. Captain, thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, and thank you so much, Gordon.